The Golden Sayings of Epictetus. 175. Never call yourself a philosopher, nor talk much among the unlearned about principles, but do that which follows from them. Thus, at a banquet, do not discuss how people ought to eat, but eat as you ought. Remember that Socrates thus entirely avoided ostentation. Men would come to him desiring to be recommended to philosophers, and he would conduct them thither himself. So well did he bear being overlooked. Accordingly, if any talk concerning principles should arise among the unlearned, be you for the most part silent, for you run great risk of spewing up what you have ill digested. And when a man tells you that you know nothing, and you are not nettled at it, then you may be sure that you have begun the work. 176. When you have brought yourself to supply the needs of the body, a small cost, do not pique yourself on that, nor if you drink only water. Keep saying on each occasion, I drink water. And if you ever want to practice endurance and toil, do so unto yourself and not unto others. Do not embrace statues, as Diogenes is said to have done in winter. (177) When a man prides himself on being able to understand and interpret the writings of Chrysippus, say to yourself, if Chrysippus had not written obscurely, this fellow would have had nothing to be proud of. But what is it that I desire? To understand nature and to follow her. Accordingly, I ask, who is the interpreter? On hearing that it is Chrysippus, I go to him. But it seems I do not understand what he wrote, so I seek one to interpret that. So far there is nothing to pride myself upon, but when I have found my interpreter, what remains is to put in practice his instructions. This itself is the only thing to be proud of. But if I admire the interpretation, and that alone, what else have I turned out but a mere commentator instead of a lover of wisdom? Except indeed that I began to be interpreting Chrysippus instead of Homer. So when anyone says to me, "Prithee, read me Chrysippus," I am more inclined to blush when I cannot show my deeds to be in harmony and accordance with his sayings. 178. At feasts, remember that you are entertaining two guests, body and soul. What you give to the body, you presently lose. What you give to the soul, you keep forever. 179. At meals, see to it that those who serve be not more in number than those who are served. It is observed for a crowd of persons to be dancing attendance to half a dozen chairs. 180. It is best to share with your attendants what is going forward, both in the labor of preparation and in the enjoyment of the feast itself. If such a thing be difficult at the time, recollect that you who are not weary are being served by those that are. You who are eating and drinking by those who do neither. You who are talking by those who are silent. You who are at ease by those who are under constraint. Thus, no sudden wrath will betray you into unreasonable conduct, nor will you behave harshly or harshly by irritating another. 181. When Xanthippe was chiding Socrates for making scanty preparation for entertaining his friends, he answered, "If they are friends of ours, they will not care for that. If they are not, we shall care nothing for them." 182. Asked, "Who is the rich man?" Epictetus replied, "He who is content." 183. Favorinus tells us how Epictetus also say that there were two faults far graver and fouler than any others: inability to bear and inability to forbear. When we neither patiently bear the blows that must be borne, nor abstain from the things that the pleasures we ought to abstain from. So, he went on, if a man will only have these two words at heart, and heed them carefully by ruling and watching over himself, he will for the most part fall into no sin, and his life will be tranquil and serene. He meant the words, bear and forbear. 184. On all occasions, these thoughts should be at hand. Lead me, O God, and thou, O destiny. Be what it may the goal appointed me. Bravely I'll follow. Nay, and if I should not, I prove a coward, yet must follow still. Again, who to necessity doth thou bow aright, is learned in wisdom and the things of God. Who to necessity doth bow aright is learned in wisdom for the things of God. Once more, Crito, if this be God's will, so let it be. And for me, Anytus and Miletus can indeed put me to death, but injure me never. (185) We shall then be like Socrates when we can indite hymns of praise to gods in prison. Okay, I will stop there. I'll begin again on 185 for the next reading. Okay. Thank you.